out, your brothers and sisters, and welcome back to Mark of the Ancients, Chapter 9. So, this is maybe a bit longer, but it's kind of unique, very different. But without further ado, let's get into the video, or let's get into this. Chapter 9, Dimensional Romance. The Battle of the Super Slashers had accidentally caused a small dimensional rift, as 4 new creatures were thrown out of the portal with force. All of them groaned as they felt the rough landing. Ah, where are we? Where are we? Sensei Wolfgang asked. Wolfgang originated from Skylands, and so were the fellow senseis who were with him on a mission, until they disappeared into a whirlpool, and now they didn't know where they were, and worst of all, they couldn't get home. Wolfgang was a werewolf. He had brown skin with spikes coming out of his shoulders. He wore black gothic leggings that were snug for his clawed feet, and had a skull belt buckle on it. I am not sure, Sensei Wolfgang, but wherever it is, has to be peaceful, Sensei Starcast answered. Starcast had powers of the stars. His head was mostly tree-shaped, but he had 4 arms, as well as his ninja shuriken blades. Sensei Wolfgang himself had his bone guitar, courtesy of the world. I don't care where we are, as long as they have rockets! Flarewolf cried. Sensei Flarewolf drew energy from the sun. Sometimes on the hottest days he turned into his super form, hard-boiled Flarewolf. His fur was on fire, as usual, and so was his tail. He was also Wolfgang's brother, even though he was the crazy one. Ambush, what do you have? Starcast asked. Sensei Ambush, the tree knight, stood silent as usual. His head was grassy, but normal. He had small tree-like lips, and his eyes glowed a faint yellow. He wore a black and yellow shinobi robe, same as Starcast and Flarewolf. The nature has called for me to guide myself to a faraway place. I think we were meant to come here. I must go, Ambush said, as he used his acrobatic tricks and skills to navigate his way through the forest. Oi, where you going? Wolfgang shouted. Soon all of them felt almost what Ambush was feeling. I think it's meant for all of us. We'll split up and follow what this strange energy is about, Starcast told him. They all nodded as they went on their departure as they made their way toward their intended destinations. 5 astracees later. The moonlight had the sky lit up throughout the entire night. Princess Luna was alone in her chambers, and tonight she was having trouble. After the sensing of Freddy Krueger and Nightmare Godzilla tearing the dream realm apart, it was going to take a while before it was safe for her to re-enter it through normal means. She sighed. She and her sister were having the same problem, loneliness. She really wanted someone she loved, and she was now on her bed in nothing but a pink skirt, while the rest of her was naked. She stared at the small yellow orb that would show her someone she would fall in love with. She really wanted someone she could love. Without warning, the orb began to change, as it showed the image of Sensei Starcast. Immediately she wanted to prove if he was worthy enough to be who she thought he was, and went out to a secret spot. 5 astracees later. Sensei Starcast arrived at the source of the energy he had been searching for. The energy was strong now, and he could sense it coming close. Without warning, Luna teleported in front of him, her magic ready, even though she was half naked. "You trespass on Princess Celestia's castle!" Luna boomed. You're kind of, Starcast stammered. "You shall perish!" Luna shouted as she attacked. Starcast uses ninja blades to defend himself. Luna dodged them with ease. She then fired more spells at him. Starcast summoned a giant shuriken as he wrote it, firing giant shuriken bombs. Luna stayed back, being launched into the gardens from the shuriken's explosions. Luna fought back with more magic. Starcast summoned a giant shuriken fighter as he climbed into the vehicle that fired multiple shurikens, knocking Luna back. Luna then used her rapid magic blast for herself as she tried to push him back. "Enough!" Starcast shouted as he used his Sky Chi. He then spun into a dark tornado, throwing shurikens everywhere. This caused him to pin Luna to the ground with him on top. "You lose," Starcast growled. Then, to his surprise, Luna leaned up and their lips met. Luna moaned deeply into the kiss, as it wasn't a kiss she had in years. Instantly, she teleported him into her bedchambers, closing the door and locking it, and even shutting the blinds. "You have beaten me by Alicorn laws. I am now your wife," Luna smiled as wedding rings appeared on their fingers, showing. "Wait, we're married? But we barely even know each other." Starcast was caught off as he knew her better and she knew him better by using a simple spell. For Starcast, her name was Princess Luna. She was the princess of the night, and she had a dark past she was not proud of. But after a while, she was forgiven, and once again became princess of the night, and she even had hobbies and stories that her mind told him in a flash. Literally, a flash! For Luna, his name was Starcast. He was a form of peaceful world called Skylands. He also had a bad past, like her, and he was also given a second chance after being captured. Now he was a sensei of the ninja class. He had arrived here through a portal with his fellow sensei brothers. What felt like getting to know them for months was actually seconds, as they opened and gazed into each other's eyes. Already Luna felt attracted to him, and he was attracted to her for who they both were. I love you," Luna whispered. "I love you too. I guess all my life I've been searching for romance, and accident brought me to it," Starcast told her. "I am glad I waited for it," Luna smiled as the two kissed. As they separated, Luna took off the pink shirt, revealing that it was the only thing she was wearing. Starcast took off his shinobi robe, revealing his equipment to her. Her breasts were big and beautiful, and so was her big butt. Oh, goodness. "Please, my husband, ret me," Luna gasped. "Of course, my love," Starcast grinned, as it was going to use all 4 of his arms. Oh man, Princess Luna is gonna keep him all to herself now. Says Luna's chambers were filled with loud groans as Luna lewdly moaned and screamed Starcast's names. Hours passed as the two were finished. "Ooh, you were wonderful. I really love the way you have 4 arms." Oh God, I can imagine where she can go with this. Luna moaned as Starcast was on top of her, clutching her breasts and squeezing her butt. "I'm really lucky I met you," Starcast told her. The spell Luna had froze time while they learned more about each other. After the spell had worn off, they had both accepted each other and now loved each other instead of it being a one-night stand. Let us sleep like this, Luna moaned as she slowly began to drift off. I'm not going anywhere, Starcast smiled as the two of them fell asleep, while Starcast snuggled his new wife, Princess Luna. 5 asteroids later. Morning had come, but Celestia really did not want to get up. I know those mornings, I knew. It's just like those mornings where you're just like, I don't want to get up. Man, it's like that. Celestia sighed sadly. She was still lonely. She sensed her sister had gotten married through the Alicorn spell they knew. Granted, since they were the rulers of Equestria, only they alone had the spell. Celestia wore only a candy cane-like shirt, candy cane-like arms, stockings, and black panties. She was tired as she began to get coffee from her dispenser in her quarters. As she poured the cup of coffee on the desk, she noticed the desk began to tremble. Her day orb, which is pink, quickly showed her of a wolf riding a rocket launcher? Without warning, Flare Wolf crashed through Princess Celendia's window and crashed into the wall. I can just imagine that just Celestia sitting there just drinking coffee, ready to start her day, and then boom! Just this huge rocket just right through the window. What in Equestria's name? Celestia shouted as she looked at the source of what crashed through her window and wall. Flare Wolf slowly got back up as he recovered. He picked up his firework as they looked around to sense the energy source as he noticed Princess Celestia. Hi? Flare Wolf asked. Princess Celestia teleported the two outside. She spilled her coffee out. No need for it now, as she faced Flare Wolf. Hang on a minute, I'm trying to think. You are about to face me in a battle of pride. If I win, you leave and never come back. If you win, I become your bride, Princess Celestia announced. Flare Wolf now found the source of that energy, and he didn't want to rush things. But then again, she looked hot and sexy. So why not? Oh my goodness. He could easily get away with this, because he's the only crazy Skylander to do it. That does make sense. No need for a new true love statement. This guy's this. Celestia fired her magic which was met with his fireworks from his dragon-labeled rocket launcher. Celestia then used a magical beam which was also met and tied by a flamethrower from his rocket launcher. Celestia then began to fire her beam again, except Flare Wolf used his rocket launcher to avoid them, riding on it, launching himself high in the air, and parachuting down and fired more rockets, knocking Celestia back. I respect his tenacity, Celestia thought to herself. She then fired more magical spells. Flare Wolf then fired a special firework that turned into a fire-laughing head of himself that detonated. Boy, that's not creepy at all. Celestia was not back as she began to back up. Flare Wolf activated his Sky Chi as he pulled out a giant pair of rocket launchers, firing them and pinning Celestia down as he approached her. Looks like I win, Flare Wolf smiled. Yes, you win, Celestia smiled as the two approached, locking lips. Celestia smiled as the two approached, locking lips. Celestia then teleported them to her chambers. As she fixed where she shut the door and locked it, fixed the window and closed its blinds. The wedding rings were now on their fingers. Celestia used the same spell that Princess used that made them know each other for 4 months, while time around them stayed frozen. After that spell, they each stared into each other's eyes. "I love you," Princess Celestia sighed. "I love you too," Flairwolf smiled. The two of them enjoyed their loving kiss. After enjoying the kiss, they soon parted for air. Celestia then took off her candy cane color short and her black panties. Her breasts were big, and she nor Luna had any back problems due to the magical spells they used. She also had a big, beautiful butt, while Flairwolf took his clothes off, revealing his equipment. I'm such a naughty princess. Please write me, my sexy husband," Princess Celestia gasped. Flairwolf could only grin as he was glad he was lucky. The room was soundproof as it was filled with Flairwolf's groans, while Celestia was moaning, screaming, and calling Flairwolf's name. Many, many hours had passed as the two had gone crazy. "Ah, yes, that was the best ever, Celestia lewdly moaned. My, you must be the naughtiest mare I've ever met," Flairwolf grinned, as he was on top of her, still holding her breasts. You know how to show your wife a good time," Celestia smiled. "Even though you froze time, those romantic evenings were wonderful," Flairwolf grinned. Celestia could barely speak as her tongue lolled out of her mouth. "We have to do more of this," Celestia smiled. "Yes, but right now let's rest, then get up to take a shower," Flairwolf informed. That sounds nice," Celestia hummed, as the two rested while Luna and Starcast substituted for them with the kingdom's problems. 5 Ashes later. Wolfgang had followed the strange scents to a small bar on the outskirts of Ponyville. He shrugged. Huh. Guess these ponies have a good time, Wolfgang declared. As he entered carrying his bone guitar, everyone gave him an interesting stare, but paid him no attention, as everyone around him was oddly pleasant. He then decided to order of the fruit cocktails it had. He didn't mind as he drank for a little. Suddenly, the bartender placed a paper in front of him with a name on it. Wolfgang looked at the bartender. "Number of the table of the mare who bought you a drink," the bartender mentioned. Wolfgang turned around and noticed an anthropomorphic earth pony who had a beautiful bright violet pink and almost a neon pink body. Bright violet pink mane and almost a neon pink body. She had a grape and a strawberry cutie mark on her flank. She wore a tight suit that still covered her breasts, but still revealed the size to be quite big. She held up the wine glass to him before she drank it down. Wolfgang took his drink and his bone harp to the table where the mare sat. Even though it was a bone guitar, he called it a bone harp. As he sat across the mare, he noticed only he and her were the only ones sitting at that table. "Hey there, handsome," the mare smiled with bedroom eyes. Hi, Wolfgang told her. "Not from around here, are you?" she asked. She cooed. "No," Wolfgang replied. "I figured. I'm Berry Punch," Berry Punch introduced. "I'm Sensei Wolfgang," Wolfgang told her as she handed him some fruit cocktail. "Sensei? Sensei of what?" Berry Punch asked. I am a sensei of the bowslinger class. I trained others my techniques on such weaponry," Wolfgang explained. Sounds interesting," Berry Punch cooed. Wolfgang looked around, but for some reason it looks like this mare seemed to stand out above all the others. Could we... I don't know. Come. I know someplace private we can go. Berry Punch cooed seductively as she dragged Wolfgang out of the bar into her home. As they both stepped inside, Wolfgang realized the place wasn't bad, but the place smelled awfully fruity despite her being home. Wow, this place smells nice, Wolfgang admired. Yeah, despite me drinking a lot of and buying fruit cocktails, I usually air this place out so it still has a pleasant smell, Berry Punch blushed. Thanks for letting me stay here, Wolfgang said. Don't mention it, Berry Punch hummed. Before Wolfgang could land on the couch, Berry Punch quickly grabbed him and brought him upstairs. No, you'll sleep in my room tonight, Berry Punch told him. Okay. No need to be so grabby, Wolfgang stammered. As Wolfgang entered Berry Punch's bed, Berry Punch laid herself next to him, pulling the covers over him. Wolfgang quickly got up to set his bone harp to the side. Why do you have a guitar made of bones? Berry Punch asked. This is no ordinary guitar. It was forged into the underworld itself. Only I know its secrets, Wolfgang explained. Interesting, Berry Punch replied, admiring him. As Wolfgang began to tuck himself in, Berry Punch put her hand across Wolfgang's face. You're kinda cute, Berry Punch cooed. I've never been called that in my life before, Wolfgang replied with sympathy. Berry Punch got closer as their lips met. Despite the many fruit cocktails, which weren't exactly alcohol per se, but got her into a state where she wasn't drunk, but acted drunk. Despite all this, Wolfgang tasted her flavored lips that were a perfect mixture of strawberry and grape. As Berry Punch moaned into the kiss, as she enjoyed the soft furriness that both excited her and pleasured her. As the two separated, Berry Punch began to take off her clothes. The dress she had worn, which bared her legs, were now removed to reveal that she was wearing a bright red bra and blue and white striped panties. Now to have some fun, big boy. Berry Punch never finished her sentence, as she passed out as all the drinking had finally wore off, and she collapsed from exhaustion. Wolfgang tried to move her, but seeing as she was having a perverted smile on her face, as she was on top of him and cuddling him. Yep, he wasn't going anywhere. But he didn't mind. She felt soft, and to him it was adorable. Good night, Berry Punch, Wolfgang told her as he kissed her forehead, which made her smile as he turned out the light and went to sleep. 5 asterisks later. Basically, I made out of, probably forgot to put this in the Mark of the Ancients, but when Shining Armor was pretty much rescuing all the other ponies in the, when they were under attack in the Sharklandians, he kind of got pulled under, devoured, and eaten, which explains this next part. Princess Cadance was still in her quarters, crying from the news she received. Her husband, Shining Armor, once she had married, was at the summer festival during that timeline. She was there. She saw that he had saved many ponies, but he had never got out of the lake in time, because the Sharklandians got to him first. His wounds were critical, and he passed away in the Crystal Pony Hospital. She cried for days. Flurry Heart also cried that day as her dad was killed. The Sharklandian that ate him came to her and apologized for everything. She forgave him, but she still missed him almost every day. She remembered the time the two of them had together. She could barely sleep. She was only dressed in a see-through dress that showed the purple bikini underneath. As she continued to cry, a hand came out of nowhere and gave her a tissue. Thanks. Thanks, Cadance sniffled. I have heard you cry of despair. Why is such a beautiful princess crying? A soft, deep voice asked. Cadence didn't recognize that voice. In fact, she didn't recognize it at all. Cadence turned her attention to see something strange and astonishing. Standing in front of her looked like a man, but his skin, fingers, face, legs, and feet were made of oak wood. His hair was made of a flowing grass. He wore a black and yellow shinobi robe and had blank yellow eyes. He held a green sword that had ancient markings on it. "Who are you?" Cadence asked. I am Sensei Ambush, the tree knight," Ambush replied. I'm Cadence," Cadence replied. "So why are you sad?" "I'm Cadence." "So why are you sad, Princess Cadence?" Ambush asked. Well, my husband, Shining Armor, was eaten by an ancient species called Sharklanteans during their frenzy season, and if we hadn't scheduled the pool party at that lake, he could still be here with me," Cadence cried. It is not your fault, Princess Cadence. You didn't even know the Sharklanteans existed. They didn't tell you about their existence because of the grief they caused in the past. It was only a matter of time before an incident like that would have happened again. Here, you need rest. Let me take you to your bed," Ambush said softly, as he dragged her to her bed. "Thank you," Cadence sniffled. You're welcome," Ambush smiled as he tucked her in. Would you mind staying with me?" Cadence asked. "Of course," Ambush replied neutrally as he sat across from her chair. "Thank you," Cadence said as she began to sleep. A few minutes passed as Cadence stirred awake as she noticed candles lit in her room. She turned around to see Ambush on a rug with candles as he sang a small naturistic tune that seemed peaceful. His sword was by his side as he sat cross-legged. What are you doing?" Cadence asked. I am meditating to recharge my Sky-Chi," Ambush answered. Cadence couldn't help but let out a small, cute giggle. Hang on a minute. Ambush opened his eyes looking at her. "Is that considered amusing?" Ambush asked. "No, it's just different of what my husband did as a knight." Cadence smiled, even though she was a bit sensitive about it. "In Skylands, each sensei has their own version of Sky-Chi that is used in battle. It charges itself on its own, but I charge it faster when I meditate," Ambush explained. Cadence says softly. Can you sleep with me tonight for comfort?" Cadence asked, feeling her cheeks warm up. Ambush opened his eyes as he cocked his head to the side, letting out a small pigeon-like coo, but sounded more lemur-like. This made Cadence blush even more as she tried to hide it. "Oh no, he's cute." Oh, that's funny. Immediately I find that funny. "Oh no, he's cute." To himself. "Sure," Ambush shrugged as he stood up, bringing his left hand into a fist, with his index finger standing while having it touch his wooden face. Basically, he does this. Then with a swift movement, like a ninja, turned all the candles off with a swift movement. Cadence was impressed. "How did you do that?" Cadence asked. "A sensei never reveals his secrets," Ambush replied, as he brought his sword near the bed as he climbed in and began to fall asleep. Cadence wrapped her arms around him and snuggled him close, making Ambush look confused. Good night, Ambush," Cadence yawned. "Good night, too, Princess Cadence," Ambush replied. "Just call me Cadence," Cadence giggled. Cadence, it is, Ambush told her as the two of them fell asleep. And that's going to end the episode here. Hope you all enjoyed. This is going to be Predator 2525 signing off.